You lie awake at night, feeling that familiar ache, not just in your body, but deeper, in your soul. That relentless pain that follows you like a shadow, whispering that something is wrong with you, that you're broken, that you need to be fixed. But what if that pain isn't a mistake? What if it's not a flaw in your design, but a signal, a sacred message trying to wake you up to something profound about who you really are? Carl Jung understood this truth. He saw that our deepest wounds aren't random acts of cruelty by an indifferent universe. They are invitations to transformation, gateways to becoming whole. You've tried everything to make the pain stop. Medication, meditation, positive thinking, running from it, fighting it, numbing it. But it persists because maybe, just maybe, it's not meant to be eliminated. Maybe it's meant to be listened to. Think back to when your pain first appeared, that relationship that shattered you, that loss that brought you to your knees, that childhood wound that still echoes in your dreams. You thought it was breaking you. But what if it was breaking you open? Society tells you to get over it, move on, let it go. But deep down, you sense there's something more. A meaning hidden in the darkness, a purpose woven into your suffering that you haven't yet discovered. You're not wrong. That knowing in your bones, that intuition that your pain carries a message, it's real. Your soul recognizes what your mind may still resist, that sometimes we have to break before we can become whole. The world taught you to wear a mask, to hide the hurt, to pretend everything is fine. When you're drowning inside, you learned to smile when you wanted to scream, to say, "I'm okay," when you were anything but okay. This is what Jung called the persona, the face we show to the world, the role we play to be accepted, to belong, to survive. But beneath that careful performance, your authentic self has been waiting. And sometimes pain is what finally cracks the mask. You see it in your exhaustion, your anxiety, the loneliness that follows you even in a crowded room. These aren't just symptoms to suppress. They're messengers trying to tell you something vital about your path. Your body knows, your dreams know, your tears know. This pain isn't random. It's not punishment. It's initiation, an invitation to go deeper, to excavate the gold buried in your wounds. As Jung wrote, there is no coming to consciousness without pain. People will do anything, no matter how absurd, in order to avoid facing their own souls. One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. This is the profound truth your pain has been trying to show you. The way out is through. Your healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you truly are. Those sleepless nights wrestling with your shadows, they're preparing you to carry light. That grief that brings you to your knees, it's teaching you to rise with newfound strength. The loneliness that aches in your chest, it's carving space for authentic connection. Your pain has been your teacher all along. Each wound an initiation. Each struggle a step on the path to wholeness. Not the sanitized Instagram perfect version of healing, but the raw, real transformation that happens in the depths. You're not meant to simply survive your pain. You're meant to be transformed by it, to let it break open your heart until you can hold both the darkness and the light, until you can embrace all of yourself, the broken and the beautiful, the shadow and the gold. This is what Jung called individuation, the journey of becoming your full self, not by transcending your wounds, but by walking through them consciously, by listening to what they're trying to teach you about who you really are. Your depression might be showing you where you've abandoned your soul's truth. Your anxiety might be revealing where you need to reclaim your power. Your relationship patterns might be reflecting the parts of yourself you've yet to love. The pain you've been trying to escape might actually be the doorway to your liberation. The very thing you thought was destroying you might be destroying only what needs to fall away so your authentic self can emerge. Think of the butterfly emerging from its chrysalis. The struggle is essential. If you try to help by cutting open the cocoon, the butterfly's wings will be too weak to fly. It needs the resistance, the pressure, the pain of pushing through. Your soul knows this wisdom. That's why it keeps bringing you back to these wounds, these patterns, these struggles. Not to torture you, but to transform you, to strengthen you, to help you break free of all that's been holding you back from your true nature. You've been looking at your pain through the wrong lens, seeing it as punishment when it's really preparation, viewing it as a curse when it's actually initiation, fighting it as an enemy when it's trying to be your guide. What if you stopped running? What if you turned to face your pain with curiosity instead of fear? What if you asked it, "What are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? How are you trying to help me grow?" This doesn't mean wallowing in suffering or wearing your wounds as an identity. It means having the courage to look deeper, to see your pain as a sacred messenger rather than an enemy to be vanquished. Jung understood that our wounds often contain our gifts. The very things that hurt us most deeply can become the source of our greatest wisdom and strength if we're willing to work with them consciously. That childhood trauma that left you feeling unworthy, it might be teaching you to find worth beyond external validation. That heartbreak that shattered your world, it might be breaking open your capacity to love more deeply, more authentically. The depression that forces you to slow down might be creating space for you to finally hear your soul's voice. The anxiety that keeps you awake might be awakening you to aspects of yourself you've been afraid to face. Your pain has purpose, not because suffering itself is good, but because it can be transformed, alchemized, turned from lead into gold through the process of conscious engagement with its deeper meaning. This is what Jung meant when he spoke of the wounded healer archetype, the understanding that our deepest wounds, when worked with consciously, can become the source of our greatest gifts to others. Think of how your pain has already shaped you, how it's made you more compassionate, more authentic, more real, how it stripped away pretense and forced you to question everything you thought you knew about yourself and life. These aren't accidents, they're initiations. Each struggle has been preparing you for something bigger than just getting better. It's been preparing you for transformation, for awakening, for becoming who you truly are. The world needs your transformation. It needs people who have faced their shadows and emerged with wisdom, who have turned their wounds into light, who understand that healing isn't about becoming perfect, it's about becoming whole. Your pain isn't punishment. It's not a mistake. It's not evidence that you're broken or wrong or unworthy. It's a sacred messenger trying to guide you home to yourself, to break you open to a larger life, to help you become who you were always meant to be. So tonight, when that familiar ache returns, try something different. Instead of fighting it or trying to fix it, sit with it, listen to it. Ask it what it's trying to show you. What if this pain isn't your enemy? What if it's actually trying to be your friend? Let your wounds be doorways. Let your struggles be initiations. Let your pain be the pressure that transforms you from coal into diamond. Trust that there is purpose in your suffering, not because suffering itself is good, but because you have the power to transform it into wisdom, strength, and authentic selfhood. You're not broken. You're breaking open. And on the other side of that breaking is a wholeness you couldn't have imagined before. A wholeness that includes everything: your light and your shadow, your strength and your vulnerability, your joy and your pain. This is the journey Jung invited us to take, not to transcend our humanity, but to fully embrace it, to find the sacred purpose hidden in our deepest wounds, to trust that our pain, when consciously engaged, can lead us home to ourselves. Your healing journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. And sometimes pain is the chisel life uses to sculpt us into who we truly are. Trust the process. Trust your path. Trust that your pain has purpose, and that purpose is your transformation. Consider how many times you've asked, "Why me?" Staring at the ceiling, tears streaming down your face, wondering what you did to deserve such pain. But perhaps the real question isn't "Why me?" but "What for?" Not "What did I do wrong?" but "What am I being prepared for?" Jung understood that our psyche naturally moves toward wholeness, even when that movement feels like falling apart. Like a forest fire that seems like pure destruction but actually clears the way for new growth, your pain might be clearing space for something new to emerge. Think about the moments that broke you, really broke you, the ones that brought you to your knees, that made you question everything. Looking back now, can you see how they changed you? How they stripped away what was false? How they forced you to find strength you didn't know you had? Those weren't just moments of suffering. They were moments of initiation. Each one peeled away another layer of who you thought you had to be, bringing you closer to who you really are. Each tear, each sleepless night, each moment of despair was actually a step on the path to authenticity. You've been trying to heal by becoming better, stronger, more positive, more spiritual. But what if healing isn't about becoming better? What if it's about becoming real? What if your pain isn't asking you to transcend your humanity, but to fully embrace it? This is what Jung meant when he spoke about the shadow, those parts of ourselves we try to hide, deny, or overcome, the parts that hurt, the parts that rage, the parts that feel too messy, too dark, too human. But integration, not elimination, is the path to wholeness. Your anxiety isn't just anxiety. It's your soul speaking in the only language it knows how. Your depression isn't just depression. It's your psyche pressing pause, creating space for something new to emerge. Your relationship struggles aren't just patterns to break. They're mirrors showing you where you still need to grow. Every symptom is a symbol. Every struggle is a story. Every wound is a doorway. This is the language of the soul, speaking through our pain, our dreams, our bodies, trying to guide us home to ourselves. Think of the hero's journey, that ancient pattern of transformation that Jung recognized in myths and dreams across all cultures. The hero doesn't become heroic by avoiding challenges. They become heroic by facing them, by descending into the darkness, by confronting their dragons. Your pain is part of your hero's journey. Those nights when you feel like you're dying, That's the old self dying to make way for the new. Those moments when everything falls apart. That's life clearing the ground for fresh construction. Those times when you feel lost in the dark. That's the darkness that comes before dawn. Jung saw that transformation isn't a straight line. It's more like a spiral, bringing us back to the same themes again and again, but each time at a deeper level. Each time with more consciousness. Each time with more capacity to understand and integrate what we're experiencing. So when you find yourself facing familiar pain, familiar patterns, familiar struggles, don't despair. You're not going in circles, you're going deeper. Each return is an opportunity to understand more, to heal more, to become more whole. Your pain has been trying to tell you something about yourself, about your path, about what you're here to learn and who you're here to become. It's been trying to wake you up to your own depth, your own complexity, your own capacity for transformation. Those parts of yourself you've been trying to fix, maybe they don't need fixing. Maybe they need understanding, integration, acceptance. Maybe the very things you've been fighting against are actually trying to fight for you, for your authenticity, your truth, your wholeness. Think of how a pearl is formed. It starts with an irritant, a grain of sand that causes pain. The oyster doesn't expel the sand. Instead, it transforms it layer by layer into something precious. Your pain can be like that grain of sand, the irritant that initiates a process of creation. This is what Jung meant when he talked about alchemy, the transformation of base materials into gold. But the gold isn't something new. It's something that was there all along, waiting to be revealed through the process of transformation. Your pain isn't random. It's not meaningless. It's not a cosmic punishment or a sign that you're doing life wrong. It's part of your path, part of your story, part of the process of becoming who you're meant to be. Each tear you've cried has been watering the seeds of your growth. Each dark night has been preparing you for a new dawn. Each wound has been an opening, a crack where the light gets in, as Leonard Cohen sang. A doorway to deeper understanding. This doesn't mean you have to love your pain or be grateful for your suffering. It means you can stop fighting it so hard. Stop seeing it as evidence of your failure. Start seeing it as evidence of your transformation. Your pain has purpose, not because suffering itself is meaningful, but because you have the power to make it meaningful. To use it as catalyst for growth, to let it shape you into someone deeper, truer, more real. This is the gift hidden in your wounds, the opportunity to become more fully yourself, not despite your pain, but through it, not by transcending your humanity, but by fully embracing it, by letting your struggles make you more compassionate, more authentic, more alive. You're not broken. You're not wrong. You're not being punished. You're being initiated into a deeper understanding of yourself and life. Your pain is part of that initiation, part of your journey home to yourself. So tonight, when the pain returns, whether it's physical, emotional, or spiritual, try to meet it differently, not as an enemy to be vanquished, but as a messenger to be heard. Not as a punishment to endure, but as an initiation to be undergone. Ask your pain, what are you trying to show me? What are you trying to teach me? How are you trying to transform me? Listen for the answer. It might come in words and images and feelings and dreams, but it will come if you're willing to listen. This is the journey Jung invited us to take, not away from our pain, but through it. Not to become perfect, but to become whole. not to transcend our humanity, but to fully embody it with all its light and shadow, all its joy and pain. Your healing journey isn't about becoming someone else. It's about becoming more fully yourself. And sometimes, pain is the chisel life uses to sculpt us into who we truly are. Trust the process. Trust your path. Trust that your pain has purpose. And that purpose is your transformation. Remember, the butterfly doesn't know why it has to struggle in the cocoon. It doesn't understand that the struggle itself is what makes its wings strong enough to fly. Sometimes we're like that butterfly, unable to see how our current struggles are preparing us for future flight, but the wisdom is there, in your bones, in your heart, in your soul. The knowing that this pain isn't the end of your story, it's part of your becoming, part of your transformation, part of your journey home to yourself. So let your pain be your teacher. Let your wounds be your wisdom. Let your struggles strengthen you. Trust that there is purpose in your pain, not because suffering itself is good, but because you have the power to transform it into something meaningful. You're not just healing, you're becoming. And every tear, every struggle, every moment of pain is part of that becoming. Trust the process. Trust your path. Trust that your pain has purpose. And that purpose is nothing less than your complete transformation into who you truly are. When you look back at your life years from now, you might see how every painful moment was actually a turning point. How the times that felt like endings were really beginnings. How the darkness that seemed endless was actually the darkness before dawn. Think of all the ways your pain has already changed you. How it softened your edges, deepened your compassion, made you more real, more human, more alive. Those changes weren't accidents. They were alchemical transformations, turning lead into gold. You might notice how your relationships have shifted, how you're drawn to different people now. People who can hold space for depth, for truth, for the full spectrum of human experience. People who aren't afraid of their own shadows, who understand that healing isn't about becoming perfect, but about becoming whole. The masks you used to wear so carefully have started to crack. The personas you constructed to please others don't fit anymore. It's uncomfortable, yes, but it's also liberating, because beneath those masks, your true face is emerging, the face that Jung would call your authentic self. Consider how your priorities have changed. What once seemed so important, the endless striving for perfection, the constant need for approval, the exhausting performance of being fine, now feels hollow. You're learning to value truth over pretense, authenticity over appearance, depth over surface success. Your pain has been your greatest teacher, though not in the way you expected. It hasn't taught you how to become invulnerable. Instead, it's taught you how to be real, how to stay present with what is, how to find strength not in the absence of weakness, but in the courage to embrace your full humanity. This is what Jung meant when he spoke about individuation, the process of becoming who we truly are, not by eliminating our shadows, but by integrating them, not by transcending our wounds, but by transforming them into wisdom. You're starting to understand that healing isn't a destination. It's not about reaching some perfect state where nothing hurts anymore. It's about developing the capacity to hold both light and shadow, joy and sorrow, strength and vulnerability. The pain that once felt like your enemy has become your guide. The wounds that seemed like curses have become doorways. The darkness that frightened you has become familiar territory, not because you've learned to love it, but because you've learned it holds gifts you couldn't have found any other way. You're learning to trust the process, to see how life isn't happening to you, but for you. How even the most difficult experiences carry seeds of transformation. How your pain isn't random chaos, but part of a larger pattern of becoming. This understanding doesn't make the pain disappear, but it changes your relationship with it. Instead of being a victim of your suffering, you become a witness to your transformation. Instead of asking, "Why me?" you begin to ask, "What for?" Jung understood that our psyche naturally moves toward wholeness, even when that movement feels like falling apart. He saw how our wounds could become windows, our struggles could become strengths, our pain could become purpose. You're part of that ancient pattern of transformation. Your personal pain connects you to the universal human journey of becoming whole. Your struggles aren't separating you from life. They're initiating you into a deeper understanding of what it means to be fully human. So tonight, when the pain returns, whether it's in your body, your heart, or your soul, remember, this isn't punishment. It's not a mistake. It's not evidence that you're doing life wrong. It's part of your becoming. Let yourself feel it fully, not to indulge it, but to understand it, not to wallow in it, but to let it work its alchemy in you. Let it break what needs to break. Let it transform what needs to transform. Let it guide you deeper into your own truth. Your pain has purpose, not because suffering itself is meaningful, but because you have the power to make it meaningful, to use it as catalyst for growth, to let it shape you into someone deeper, truer, more real. This is the gift hidden in your wounds, the opportunity to become more fully yourself, not despite your pain, but through it, not by transcending your humanity, but by fully embracing it, by letting your struggles make you more compassionate, more authentic, more alive. You're not broken. You're breaking open. And on the other side of that breaking is a wholeness you couldn't have imagined before. A wholeness that includes everything: your light and your shadow, your strength and your vulnerability, your joy and your pain. Trust the process. Trust your path. Trust that your pain has purpose, and that purpose is nothing less than your complete transformation into who you truly are. Remember, the darkest night precedes the dawn. The greatest struggles precede the most profound transformations. Your pain isn't the end of your story. It's part of your becoming, part of your journey home to yourself. So let your pain be your teacher. Let your wounds be your wisdom. Let your struggles strengthen you. Trust that there is purpose in your pain, not because suffering itself is good, but because you have the power to transform it into something meaningful. You're not just healing, you're becoming. And every tear, every struggle, every moment of pain is part of that becoming. Trust the process. Trust your path. Trust that your pain has purpose. And that purpose is your transformation into wholeness itself. This is the journey Jung invited us to take, not away from our humanity, but deeper into it. Not to escape our pain, but to transform it. Not to become perfect, but to become real. To find the gold hidden in our wounds, the wisdom buried in our struggles, the purpose woven into our pain. Your journey continues. But now you understand, you're not walking alone. Your pain walks with you, not as an enemy, but as a guide. Not as a punishment, but as an initiation. Not as an end, But as a beginning, trust the process. Trust your path. Trust that your pain has purpose, and that purpose is nothing less than your complete transformation into who you truly are.